And I remember talking to Rob very early on. We were already at the Scuff House. You remember the Scuff House, right?
Yeah.
The big house in Inverness. And I remember I was on my laptop, this one probably. I was on my laptop and I was talking with Black Tip H.
Yep.
Josh.
Yep.
And Josh was like, hey, we were talking, because he talked to Rob, and Rob was like, yo, my buddy's a YouTuber, and he knows about the algorithm and shit like that. I didn't. To this day, I don't. Right? SEO is not my thing.
Yeah.
I do. I know a little bit. But I remember being on a conference call with him, and Rob was in the same Skype call, but his video wasn't on. Okay. And I was walking around, and Josh was like, where the fuck do you live? And I'm like, oh, this is the gamer house, and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then I'm telling Josh, I'm like, listen, right now your only issue is that people like you, people like Dude Perfect, because of how difficult your videos are, have the luxury of only uploading one video a week, and it can work. For everybody else, for all the rest of us, for all the grinders out there, we need to upload every single day.
Yep.
And I remember hearing Rob saying, like, okay, so you got to upload every single day. I didn't know at the time that I was talking to Rob through Josh, because all the information I was giving Josh, Rob was just like fucking absorbing.
Yeah, absorbing, yeah.
Just like,
yeah.
He had in his mind already that he was going to set out and do YouTube videos.
Yeah.
And I've taken him fishing with me and Scott Martin like 2 times before he said, I want to do this shit.
Yep.
Right? And at the time, Rob had just sold his business, so he had a little bit of cash, which made it easier for him to, fly out younger people who didn't necessarily have, the freedom and money to just travel wherever.
For sure.
And he invested that money into it so smart.
Yeah, 100%.
I told him, I'm like, one of the things that made us the biggest thing in esports was the fact that we collaborated more than anybody else. Like, we had Nadeshot and Scumpy on the same videos. We had Hector and Big Time, and like, we had a collaborative house to do that. And he was just taking it in. Next thing you know, I'm on a boat with you, and you're doing fishing, and I had already seen your videos, because the second that I saw one rod, I went down the rabbit hole, as you do on YouTube. And I started watching everything, and then I don't know, we just got on the water. And at the time, what was your average view video back then? Do you remember?
20, 30K probably.
20 to 30K. What's your average view video now?
400 or 500, I think.
400,000.
Yeah.
Think about that. Think about the growth that you've had from there. And the reason that I wanted to have you on, as I was saying it earlier, is because there's somebody gonna be out there, right? Whether it's a fucking carpenter, whether it's a fireman, whether it's, you name it, who is gonna get the ideas like, maybe I should make videos of this, because there are gonna be people that are gonna be interested in the educational sort of content that I can create for them.
Yeah,
and
sure.
That is the age that we live in right now. Like, the ability for somebody to just be interested. Think about how many camera people, how many photographers, how many videographers have become the Casey Neistats, the Peter McKinnons of the world. And that's fucking shooting video. You know what I mean? Like, you sort of put this emphasis on the star, right? On the protagonist of the story, the main dude. And the camera guy is just a camera guy. The camera guy, for what it's worth, at whatever point in time, is just a person managing the camera. These guys turn that fucking camera around, and Casey Neistat's fucking born.
There you go. Yeah.
How nasty is that?
That's crazy. It's great. I never really thought of it that way, but yeah, like, that's exactly what it is. Yeah, Peter McKinnon, all those guys, like, they were at once just camera guys. Not to, like, downplay, but just camera guys.
Yeah.
That's what they were.
Yeah. Just like, if you think about, it's just is the most insane space that we live in, and that to me is like one of the craziest stuff. So Googan, the team, your team is before Googan started. You guys had already just started to come together. When did Lake Fork Guy come into play?
When we started fishing, I think I fished with him probably back in 2016, 17, but he was just kind of like, he's just doing his own thing. Rackley, he just does his own thing. He kind of does his deal, and we started fishing with him more and more. I think it would have been 2017, 18. I think is kind of when I remember the moment it happened, because we went to Mexico with him. So it's just the squad and then him. He was there in Mexico as well, and we started filming together. We all kind of had this like, we should just bring him in. Like, there's no reason not to at this point. He's a great dude. Like, brings a lot to the table. Like, he's all about it type thing. And we sat down, had a meeting, and brought him in type thing. So he came into factor, I think, because he just lived here. Like, he was here already. It's not, he wasn't traveling in or doing his thing. Like I said, he kind of was doing his own thing, and we just went out and fished with him because he's a really good angler. If you hadn't noticed, like, the best out of everybody, hands down.
Excellent on camera, too.
Oh, yeah.
The ultimate alpha male, in my opinion.
Yeah, 100%. And so yeah, he was just a perfect fit. We didn't have to like try. There wasn't really much thought behind the whole thing. Like it was just like a very natural. Yeah, let's add this guy. He's definitely a good part of the team. So.
And at the time, you guys said Mike had said, "I don't want to be a part of this."
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
And you guys did you guys the Googan part in the name?
Yep.
Right. Like, tell me how that happened, because originally you're just a group of YouTubers doing something together.
Yeah. So I mean, I can remember. I have like one memory kind of when it happened, but it was like the summer. That sort of been the summer after you and I fished together, basically, where everyone was just fishing together, but there was no concept of a group, whatever. I mean, honestly, it was OpTic that 100% inspired the whole thing, like to think, get a house, be together, whatever. And something about, like, I don't know who called it what. I have a video on my channel titled, like, Bass Fishing with Googans, and I posted that before the name Googan Squad came up. Not saying that it was me by any means, but someone was throwing the name Googan around, which means like really bad angler, essentially. Like you suck. Like you're
noob.
You're terrible. Which was ironic because we were making tutorial videos. So like it was kind of funny just because like we tried to keep it pretty light, because at that time, especially at that time, the fishing industry was super serious. Like you didn't mess around. You didn't just go to a pond and jack around and make a video. Like you were either like Van Damme or you weren't doing it type thing, which is cool. That's great. But we wanted to have more fun at it. I grew up fishing tournaments in high school and college, and like to be honest, I hated them because it was like so much pressure and like it just sucked the fun right out of it. Like it was just like a huge competition. It's fishing, so at the end of the day, like you're kind of just, you have bad days, whatever. And I hated the competitive side of fishing because I just wanted to go catch fish and have fun. So once like the video things took off, I was like, I just want to do this. I don't want to do tournaments. So that's when I kind of quit doing the tournament thing. So we decided to kind of keep it light and funny and goofy, which we got incredible hate for, obviously, because we're like, you know, not disrespecting the sport, but kind of like just a bunch of idiots together on a boat, when it's like, that's not the proper way of fishing type thing. Like you're just, everything was so proper then. And so we just kind of embraced, instead of trying to like conform to what was normal, we're just like, screw it. We're going to be idiots and we're going to document it. And if y'all want to watch, you can watch. And then it just kind of came about Googan, and Googan Squad seemed like it was a good fit.
And at what point did you guys say, all right, Googan, we should be Googans? Like that's our name. Like how, because you don't being able to make fun of yourself is like one thing, but committing an entire brand and a lifestyle to it is like something completely different. Right? Like I have this persona where I'm like uber egotistical. Like you'll never hear me talk bad about myself because I love me too much. Like that, what I did right there, that's like the thing that goes, like there's some truth to it, right? Like I've always been very self-confident and shit, but to be able to make fun of yourself, like that's the ultimate, you know, I don't know, you sort of, it's that Eminem 8 Mile, you've seen it? Where he starts making fun of himself, and that's pretty much what you guys did.
I think it's kind of like, how do you make fun of somebody that makes fun of themselves? You know what I mean? Like it's like getting like bullied or something, and if like you make a joke about yourself, it's like kind of takes, for the bully, it takes the fun away for them. So we kind of just did it. We took away the fun that the serious anglers would have making fun of us. Because it's like, no one's going to listen to you talk about these dudes being idiots if they admit they're idiots. They're like, okay, what's your point? So I think that, I mean, that process never really like went through my head personally, but like that's probably why it happened. We just took it right out of it. So that way, if you want to make fun of us, go ahead, but we're going to make fun of ourselves too.
Do you think they saw it coming? The pro anglers and the industry, do you think they saw it, like what you guys were doing, and they were like, fuck?
Not until it was too late.
Yeah,
no.
It was way too late.
Way too late. I mean, like I said, I started in 2012, and I came out the gate, you know, wanting to work with brands. So I'm 15, couldn't even really get a job really mowing lawns. I just wanted like discounts or free product. Like I would literally post an entire video for like a crankbait all day long. I would do that all day long. And that was my way of like getting lures and stuff like that. And so it was like, I mean, hundreds of emails a day. Of course, like if I read those emails now, I'd be like, oh my God, like, you know, being 15, 16, like you're just, they'd be brutal. But with that being said, like, yeah, it just, I don't know. It just seems like, I don't know.
Now you have somebody on the other side writing those emails for you. You know, like think about that, right?
They didn't, I can't, we don't want to get into details, but yeah, I mean, pretty much we got spit in our face a lot, like grinding, because we had no ambition of doing it ourselves. Like it's a lot of work, a ton of work to do it. We just wanted to partner with brands at the time. And like nobody would listen. Not a single brand. Like I couldn't get a sponsor for anything ever. And we like finally got fed up with it. And we're like, let's just do our own thing. And I think it was like, even whatever it was, it'd been 2017, I think, whenever we launched Googan Baits. It was even like that year. Like it still hadn't come around. Like we did it. It was the year after that that everyone's like, because we had the success of the first year, that people finally like started like reaching out. I'm like, dude, it is like, you should have called me like 4 years ago. Like, we're on to the next thing. We're doing our own thing. Yeah. So
I think people's inability to see the tides turning is the end all be all for everybody. I mean, look at Kodak, right? Like they said no, everyone's always going to use fucking Polaroids, instant Polaroids, and for a very long time they did, and now they're making a resurgence and all that shit. But they didn't adapt and move on as quickly as they could have, right? They could have been like the biggest camera out there, right? So I think it was too late by the time that everything happened. I think that. Luckily, it happened the way it happened because now you own your own base, right? So when you're out there going to, I'm going to say them because nobody's going to watch this anyway. So when you go out to Strike King or when you go to Rapala and you go like, hey, please sponsor me. Look at my Instagram account has 3 times the following that your fucking professional old ass angler has. No offense to any of them, but that's the case,
it's the
right?
Truth, yeah.
It's the truth. Numbers don't lie. And when you have that sort of engagement, it is beyond mind-blowing to me that they didn't see that coming. No. You know who else didn't see it coming? Computer companies, PC companies, the iBuyPowers of the world, it's iBuyPower. You know, we reached out to the Alienwares of the world. Like, we reached out very early on when we were at the house and we were like, hey, we need streaming PCs. Do you guys want to do it? It's like, well, you guys aren't PC players. I'm like, yeah, but if you name every single PC player that you have on your fucking roster right now, they have nothing in comparison to what Nadeshot has. They have nothing in comparison to what Merc has. They have nothing in comparison with Scump, and they didn't see it.
No.
I'm like, we use PCs every single day to edit videos. We can promote this to our audience.
For sure.
Even if 10% of our audience bought your PC, that is still 10 times more than any professional that you have fucking on there right now. Obviously, ties, everything changes. Now it's all about streamers. Now these companies are like, we don't want to sponsor streamers. I mean, professional players, not all of them. I'd rather sponsor
the streamers.
The streamer, the ninjas of the world, the shrouds of the world. I'd rather sponsor them than the best professional whatever out there because of the audience, the eyeballs.